Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Knowles. Doctor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Nadler, and members of the committee. Thank you for conducting this hearing and the opportunity to explain why characterizing the U.S.-Mexico border as a region in crisis is an inadequate and unproductive way for addressing North America's cross-border challenges. I appreciate the invitation to participate. I am an expert on organized crime and U.S.-Mexico security cooperation. As a scholar of U.S.-Mexico relations and as a proud resident of the border region, I am convinced that transnational problems require transnational solutions. To the families testifying today, I want to acknowledge your grief. There are no actions that can reverse the tragedies that you have experienced. My testimony today does not seek to invalidate yours. On the contrary, it is precisely because I have witnessed and collaborated with families on both sides of the border that have lost loved ones that I am here to offer what I believe is a more constructive and sustainable path forward.
I apologize. We got someone checking just to make sure that everything's fine, but
Thank you.
We'll continue. Yeah, you can continue, Doctor.
Thank you. The human cost of our shared tragedies cannot be overstated. Today, Americans are more likely to die from an opioid overdose than a car crash. Equally important, homicide is the leading cause of death for men ages 15 to 44 and the second cause of death for women ages 15 to 24 in Mexico. Painfully, while families who have lost loved ones to overdoses or homicides may find some degree of solace in visiting their graves, this remains a dream for the thousands of family members who search for the more than 115,000 Mexicans who have disappeared. North America is facing simultaneous and connected health crises. Perhaps paradoxically, the silver lining is that there is no secret solution awaiting to be discovered. Actions available to Congress can contribute to stemming the devastating effects of these public health challenges and can be implemented through U.S.-Mexico cooperation. Even though the border is characterized in Washington, D.C. and Mexico City as a perpetual crisis, for those of us who live and work in the region, we know this is where the most creative and innovative developments in the bilateral relationship take place. This is not an overstatement. Consider, for instance, the health challenges the world faced with COVID-19. In a time of fear and uncertainty, where countries close borders, the governments of California and Baja California worked in partnership with public health experts, academia, and the private sector to engineer a cross-border vaccination program, a program, I might add, that actually benefited supply chains for the defense sector in the US as well. This type of proactive, collaborative ingenuity, rather than unilateral measures, is what is most urgently needed. Today, I present to you an evidence-based call to action from the border with 6 actions to start. First, support the Stop Arming Cartels Act. Simply stated, by failing to address firearms trafficking to Mexico, the U.S. is subsidizing the operating costs of criminal groups. It is as if cartels receive an annual aid package with state-of-the-art technology to carry out the crimes this Congress wants to stop. Develop mutually accepted vetting mechanisms for exchanging information. Best practices from other parts of the world show that weakening the activities of organized crime requires trusted partnerships across countries. As long as Mexico and the U.S. lack these mutually accepted vetting mechanisms, bilateral cooperation will be hindered. The Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is an important step in addressing straw purchasing and trafficking. However, successful implementation requires resources for prosecutors and the ATF. The BSEA also provides an opportunity for seeking meaningful cooperation with Mexican counterparts. Provide funding and support research for improved metrics of border security. In 2024, it is unacceptable that the indicators of border security are detentions and seizures. Recording how many people were stopped or how many drugs were seized hardly builds a smart border. There is significant room for improvement. These metrics should be developed in partnership with civil society, the private sector, and academia. And finally, visit the border and its binational communities. The border is not only a legal definition or a boundary between two countries. Our shared problems and their solutions do not stop and start where the fence meets the ocean. There is no first substitute for first-hand experience. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ms. Lopez, you're recognized for 5 minutes.